Tonight's first guest, Anna Kennedy, is a mum and autism advocate, an author, a patron of charities, the organiser of Give Us a Break anti-bullying campaign, and the founder of Hillingdon Manor School. I'm so thrilled that you've decided and agreed to come on board. I suppose we're going to start immediately into it and ask you a couple of questions. The first one being your background on autism, what your inspiration for setting up all of these wonderful endeavours that you've set up.
Well, I have two sons. Patrick, who's 27, has a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, and Angelo, who is 24 now, and he has a diagnosis of severe autism, quite a significant sensory processing condition and nocturnal epilepsy. And due to the lack of provision of where I live in West London, we decided to remortgage our home and set up a school, because my boys were at home for 3 years just receiving 5 hours home tuition, and I was getting very, very frustrated about reading lots of different books, as parents do once their children have been diagnosed, about how important it was for early intervention. So decided to take the bull by the horns, if you like, and just set up our own provision. And it was a real roller coaster of a learning curve for everything. So if I had to do it again, I probably would. But it was definitely a journey of ups and downs, and it was a fantastic project. And so much so, we decided to set up another school, a college for adults, because as our boys were growing up, we were looking around to see what there was in the area, and there was nothing at all. So we set up a college now that has 45 adults. The school has 190 children, and the second school we set up has 90 children. So, and then we decided to set up a charity about 6 years ago, and that was because of parents writing to me about the difficulties that they were having, that I had all those years ago, with diagnosis, trying to find the right type of school, transition, once they got to adulthood, what was available, how do you fill out a disability living allowance form, what's the blue badge, all those sort of questions that parents have to go through once their child has been diagnosed with an autism spectrum condition.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. Anna, I know that the very first school you set up was, is it the Hillingdon Manor School, would that be right?
Yeah.
And did you say that you've got 190 pupils there now?
Yeah, 190 pupils that travel in from 19 different local authorities. So it's been, the school has started off with 19 pupils and then just grew and grew, and it's now spread over 3 different sites very close to each other. So we have a primary site, we have a secondary site, and then, if you like, a sixth form type, preparing the pupils for the world of work or for college.
That is absolutely amazing. And to think that it came from a parent's vision initially.
It was out of frustration, really, because obviously my boys were only getting 5 hours home tuition, and one of the ladies that was working with my eldest son, we ended up employing her, and then the lady that was working with Angelo had never worked with a child with autism before, so she just felt totally out of her depth.
Okay. Anna, does the school meet the needs of lots of varying levels of functioning with children with autism, or would it be more high functioning or low functioning?
Well, if you imagine, when I opened the school, obviously my boys are so different from each other. So, I have Angelo, who has minimal speech, obviously quite a significant sensory processing condition, where Patrick has got a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. I couldn't set up 2 schools, so we had to make it work. So what we did was we set up the main building first of all, and then we had for children like Patrick, there was 7 in a class, 8 maximum, with the teacher and a one-to-one support. And then children like Angelo, who were working with their independent living skills and speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, there was 3 to 4 children in that class with one-to-one support for each child.
That is absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Anna, with regards to moving forward then, I know that you're very active today in disability bullying issues and creating awareness around autism in the UK. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do whatever I can, really, to try and create any opportunities for individuals on the spectrum. And then also, because of parents writing to me through the power of social media or through our charity website, Anna Kennedy Online, we've almost sort of created a virtual autism community where parents are supporting each other, where they're sharing strategies or just want to have a little rant, because they're feeling frustrated or feeling isolated. I do some research on articles that I think parents might be interested in. I don't endorse all the articles, only the ones that obviously come from myself, where I know that, if it's from the school, I know that some of the strategies that we share from the school, I know that work, but it's for everyone to read, to make up their own minds. There's just so much stuff out there, good and bad, with reference to autism. So what I just try and do is raise as much awareness as I possibly can, obviously trying to get as much acceptance. I've gone into the world of performing arts, and that was because of my contact with a lady called Debbie Moore, and she is the founder of Pineapple Dance Studio, and she's a really, really inspiring lady, and her company was the first company as a woman to be in the FTSE 100. So I went along to one of their shows, and because parents had been writing to me about their children being bullied, whether it be in mainstream, whether it be in special needs school, whether it be in the community, whether it be online, a lot of parents were saying that their children were turning to the performing arts to help them get through their ordeal. So they were either teaching themselves how to sing or play the piano, play the guitar, a comedian, a magician, set up a band, fantastic artwork. I decided that I wanted to create something to showcase what our children and adults can do, and to show that they can achieve. So what I decided to do was, after seeing the show at Pineapple, I thought I wanted to do something myself. So I spoke to my team. I said, how about we put on a show in the centre of London, in a theatre that has lots of dressing room space, and we'll showcase 20 performers. And I sort of followed it from the format, if you like, from Britain's Got Talent, but without the competition element, so that it wouldn't add anxiety. So we decided to give it a go. We spoke to Pineapple, and then we met a lovely lady called Maggie from Pineapple Performing Arts, who works with children, and she decided she wanted to support us with that. So we had a stage manager, and we had the tech guys, and the first show that we did was almost 7 years ago. It was absolutely amazing. There was 500 people came to watch the show. It was just, people talked about it for weeks on end. We weren't sure if it was going to work, because obviously, if you can imagine, you've got 20 performers coming from across the country. We're trying to put a show together in 2-3 days. They've never met us before, so what we did was a meet and greet the night before, so they could familiarise themselves. We sent them as much information as we possibly could, and then the next day was the day of the show. So we had everybody in at 9 o'clock, showing them their dressing rooms, prepare them as much as we possibly can, and then we went through the tech rehearsal, and then the show started at 7 o'clock. And you know what? It just really works. It's just something special about this show. So we're in our 7th year now, and there's so many positive feedback that's coming from the show, and also opportunity. So say, for example, one of our young people, he's now the patron of the charity. Most of the patron and ambassadors are on the autism spectrum.
Good.
So they're role models. So we've got like world kickbox champion. We have a young man that goes to the Royal Ballet School. We've got another man who's part of the Magic Circle.
Wow.
So it's really, really amazing. So it just shows you what these young individuals and adults can achieve. Autism with Attitude is a street dance crew from our school, Hillingdon Manor School. They competed in World Championship. Sorry, can you hear my son in the
I can.
Yeah. They competed in a championship, and they came third, and now, because of them becoming third, they're now going to be competing in Germany, and they're the first ever SEN dance crew, if you like, street dance
amazing.
Crew that are going to, so they're making history, really. So we're really excited about that. So they were just recently filmed on BBC. Last year the BBC came to film some of the show, and they focused on a young man that had autism and ADHD, who was a drummer, an amazing drummer, and then they highlighted the show. So that was on BBC Breakfast, so much so that it went on the 1 o'clock news as well, because people were so inspired by what they saw. So as I say, what I'm trying to do is create as many opportunities as I possibly can, whether it be through performing arts, whether it be through being an ambassador of our charity or a patron, trying in the workplace as well, trying to see if we can, create a few more work placements for individuals. So it's just whatever I can, thinking out the box really, just trying to think out the box of what else can I do to create opportunities, as well as campaigning, which is really important, and then obviously our anti-bullying campaign, because a lot of parents again wrote to me about their children or adults being bullied, as I said, either within school or online, which is on the increase, of course, and within the community. So we set up our anti-bullying campaign called Give Us a Break, and it's been going now for quite a few years. I've been working with the NSPCC, Childline, and then one of our young patrons, Ryan Wiggins, he created a video about himself being bullied called Tomorrow, and that was 3 years ago, and it just went viral. It went everywhere. It was really quite powerful, and then that went in the Daily Mail and the Mirror, and it got people writing to him, sharing him, stories about how they'd been bullied, and how his story had inspired them. So Ryan now, as I say, looks after our YouTube channel. I put him forward for the Diana Award, which he got. I put him forward for the British Citizen Award. We have a gentleman as well called Austin Hughes. He is one of what I call my A-team, and he's on the autism spectrum, and he gives advice. He now works for West Ham United Foundation. He is their inclusion manager and community manager, so he's doing a lot of great work out there, trying to get children included in sports, within schools, and also spreading the word about our anti-bullying campaign, Give Us a Break. So it's just, as I said, just trying to open doors where before they were shut. So trying to find the key and see how can we get in there.
Excellent. And Anna, can you tell us a little bit about the Autism Hero Awards?
Yeah, that's just recently finished, and we'll be opening up entries again for next year. So we're in our third year of Autism Hero Awards. So I used to compare the Hero Awards in Wales, and I did that for 2 years in a row. And then the founder of the Autism Hero Awards decided that she wanted it to go UK-wide. So she said, I can't think of anyone else better than you, Anna, to take it over. So she handed it over to us, and it's just been huge. We did it last year. We had to get a bigger venue this year. We had hundreds of entries in. We had 6 judges that found it really difficult to choose 3 finalists for each of the 12 categories. We invited 36 finalists down to London to the Radisson Blu, where the winners were announced for each category. We had one of our singers from the Autism's Got Talent who showcased our first anti-bullying single, Hollow. That's actually on our website as well, which is an amazing single that's been really well received. And then one of the other young performers, Emma Awai, she sang at the Hero Awards too. And it was such an amazing evening that obviously now we're going to be going on to our third Hero Awards. So I'm actually going tomorrow to go and have a look at the venue again, and to negotiate the date, and to start spreading the word for that. And something else we're working on, which is a regular event of ours, is the Autism Expo, and that's at Brunel University. This is our third expo, and that will be on March the 10th.
Very good. We were fortunate enough to have Richard Mylan on our last show, and his son Jaco got a Special Recognition Award.
He did, Jaco. Yeah, Jaco got a Special Recognition Award, and Richard was shortlisted as one of the 3 finalists. Yeah, he's amazing, and just such a lovely guy, and Jaco's doing so well, and I love the documentary that they put together. So one of our winners was Professor Uta Frith as well.
Oh, wow.
For the Lifetime Achievement. So it's we get so many nominations, and it was so difficult for the judges that they actually asked for an extra couple of hours to because they were finding it difficult to choose the final 3.
My Lord, fantastic. I'm feeling very lazy listening to you with all the fantastic work you do.
I don't stop.
No.
I am a workaholic. I'm actually patron to UK Charity Week, which kicks off tomorrow. So that is basically to highlight charities And I like to focus on the smaller charities that work just as hard as the bigger charities, but they struggle for funding. And for me, I think the smaller charities are the lifeline to a lot of families and the backbone, if you like. So what I'm saying is don't forget about the smaller charities. They need as much funding as the bigger charities. So what I'm doing is I'm working with Charity Today, who have, they started it last year, UK Charity Week. So they were so impressed with how I am on social media that I'm actually one of their patrons. So I'm really pushing, starting tomorrow, basically, come on, let's support our local charities. They work very hard and they need the funding to keep going.
Well, I suppose that bottom up strategy works best for people that are dealing with autism every day, rather than that trickle down top to bottom effect.
Yeah, that's right. So it's the bigger charities are doing a lot of good work, but don't forget about the smaller charities that are supporting a lot of local people, and obviously there to give support because they're local.
Tell me, Anna, I know you're talking about a lot of your people getting awards and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about your own award, the OBE for Royal Reward for Inspirational Mother?
God, that was I think it was 2013 that I met the Queen, which was really quite surreal. I went along to Buckingham Palace to receive the award for my work with special educational needs of setting up a school and for autism awareness raising. And it's obviously fantastic to receive such an award, and obviously I'm humbled, but it's also, I use it as a tool to help me, if you like, instead of knocking on the door, something like the OBE might give me a key to open the door to try and get through to speak to people, to support our young people. So when I was there, I actually bumped into Kate Winslet, and Gary Barlow was there, and Kate Winslet was talking to me about the Golden Hat Foundation that she set up in America, because her daughter was friends at the time with a young girl with autism, and she was so overwhelmed with how she had to struggle to get support that they decided to set up the Golden Hat Foundation. So we chatted about autism, and that was just really surreal, because I went to their Buckingham Palace, obviously, at lunchtime, and I went back home. I was loading the washing machine, doing what mums do, and I just thought, 1 minute I'm shaking hands with the Queen, and then the next minute I'm loading the washing machine and trying to clear a block toilet as well at that time.
I love it. Anna, I know that you've actually received a lot of other awards as well. You've received a Woman of the Year award in 2009, and you've been in receipt of the Achieving Mum of the Year for Tesco Mum in 2013 as well. So it must feel great to have your work as a mum acknowledged as well as your work as an autism advocate.
It's great, and I've made so many friends as well. Like, for example, 2 years ago I did the People Strictly, so that was the People's version of BBC Strictly, and it was the first time they'd ever opened it up for the public. So there was 25,000 people that were nominated, and they narrowed it down to 6, and I was lucky enough to be one of the 6. And 5 other people that were there, there wasn't anything to do with autism, but they were to do with like MS. They were just amazing people, and we've still kept in contact, and we support each other. So I just meet a lot of fantastic people along the way, where we either network together, or we support each other, or we spread the news together about, not only about autism, but I spread the news about what they're doing. So it's great to receive the awards, and I'm really grateful. But it's also good to meet inspirational people, and to use the award to try and further the acceptance, if you like, or awareness about autism.
And I'm going to ask you one final question. You spoke wonderfully about the Autism's Got Talent show. Is there any chance at all that you'd ever consider coming over to Ireland for our children to?
A lot. You know what? The show is open for anyone across the country. We've got acts that apply from overseas.
Okay.
So last year we had acts from Croatia, Sweden, America, Canada. This year we've had acts apply from Morocco, America again, Fiji Islands.
Oh, wow.
So it's becoming worldwide.
Oh, fab.
So, so it's not only for people in the UK, and we're opening the Hero Awards as well next year, worldwide. So, because we had people that wanted to nominate again from Canada, from different, European countries. So why not stop? Why stop at UK? Let's sort of open up to the world and overseas, and welcome people in to share what they're doing to raise awareness about autism and all the fantastic work that's going on out there. There's a lot of doom and gloom stuff that's out there about autism, and we know about that. We know about how hard it is, and I know a lot of parents get frustrated when they highlight about just people who are, say, Asperger's syndrome or on high function end of the spectrum. There are parents who are having a really tough time where their children are non-verbal and they're not sleeping. Like my son Angelo sleeps 3 to 4 hours a night. When they're dealing with smearing, when they're dealing with difficult behaviours. So autism is a spectrum condition, and I know it's very frustrating for parents when they watch programs like the A Word, which is great talking point. Obviously people are talking about autism, but what they're saying is don't forget about our children that are not as high functioning.
I suppose
on the A Word, I think Louis Theroux did a good program a few years ago about children that had more challenging behaviour, and I think there should be more programs like that, just to raise more awareness and just say, look what parents are dealing with. Their carers again are the backbone of society. Because us mums and dads and grandparents that we rely on, they're just a lifeline as well to so that we can get a little bit of a break and respite is needed. There's just so many topics you could talk about, really, couldn't you?
And I suppose the flip side too about people like the understanding of high functioning as somebody that's verbal or that's capable, when in fact a child that could be considered high functioning may not be functioning well in everyday scenarios, but they may have anxiety that is absolutely crippling them to the point where they can't access school and stuff.
And that's why early intervention is so crucial, because if the children do get early intervention, then hopefully they won't develop into mental health issues. Because I saw just recently where they were talking about saying, people on the autism spectrum, there are a higher rate of suicide. So if families were given the support early on and respite, and I know it's all to do with cuts, and I know it's really difficult, but do you know what? You are fighting for the rights of your child. For me, I don't care about cuts. It's about I want the support for my son or my daughter so that they can lead as independent life as they possibly can.
But you're offering such a great service and such great support for everybody anyway, with that networking and with those interactive online forums and whatever. They are brilliant, absolutely fantastic in supporting parents when they're not getting access to those services.
That's right.
Listen, Anna, I'm going to have to finish up. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I'd just like to say thanks so much for agreeing to come on the air and for sharing your story. And I look forward to seeing you here in Cork next year for the Autism's Got Talent show.
Okay.
Anna, thank you very, very, very much. Okay.
Thank you very much for inviting me on the show.
Thanks a million, Anna. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
It will never be royal. It don't run in our blood. The kind of looks just ain't for us. We crave a different kind of buzz. Let me be your ruler. You can call me Queen Bee, and baby, you're rule. Let me live that fantasy.